Howdy everybody, Steve here, KM9G. Today I'm going to share with you a battery tester. This here is the MakerHawk, I don't even know what they call it, electric load device or battery test device or something along those lines. What it does is it converts battery power into heat and it measures it along the way. Some of you guys might have seen the West Mountain Radio computerized battery analyzer. This thing is a quarter of the price of that, so I'm going to save you some money and you make up for it by having to do a little bit of work yourself, which is just fine. I like work. Let's go take a look. I have had this thing for a while and I realized I have never shown it to you directly. I've talked about it in videos where I do battery testing, and we're going to do a little bit of a battery test right now as well. It's used for testing a pretty large variety of electrical devices. What you do is you plug in a wall wart back here to power the device for all the calculation purposes, so there's not like parasitic draw. And it comes with a wall wart. This is 9 volts, 1 amp, but this could very easily plug into your 12 volt shack power supply, an existing USB connector that you have. It's micro USB, ew. And it says it's good for 6 volts to 12 volts. So 9 volts is just fine. I'm gonna plug this in and watch it not reach. It doesn't reach, yay. Okay, so we'll use a 12 volt source instead. All right, we are up and we are on. And as you can see, there is a lovely little display there. It's going to read out the voltage that it sees on the battery, which right now it doesn't see any voltage because there's no battery. It's going to read out the amps that it's drawing, and you have an adjustment here for coarse and an adjustment here for fine. So this will go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. And this will go up 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. And you're going to see me mess with these a little bit later, and you'll see just how fast they move. Down here, it's going to tell you watts, temperature. Right now, it's reading 22 degrees Celsius. It's going to tell you amp hours, and it's saying that 0.32 amp hours have been consumed. And right now, I want to reset that to 0. So I take this button here and I long press it. And it beeps and it resets it to 0. So now I'm ready to start a test. It's also going to tell me watt hours, and it's going to tell me the total runtime that it's going to take. And so what I am trying to do, like this battery here from Dennis says 5.5 amp hours on it, 71 watt hours. So when I am done running this test, this should say something in the neighborhood of 5.5 amp hours and 71 watt hours. And if it says more than that, then Dennis was giving me the lagniappe, the little extra that I need. And if it says less than that, and it's significantly less than that, it's not going to be accounted for by wiring, heat loss, and conversion factors and stuff like that, then I'm going to be worried. So out of a 5.5, I'd actually expect this to give me 6. But out of a 5.5, I would expect 5.2 to 5.7 is probably good enough. If this thing came back and said 3 amps, I would be worried. And this battery right here has not been fully charged. I don't know how much capacity is in it because I'm trying to show you the battery tester, not the battery. But I can't help but share this battery with you because this thing is gorgeous. There's big, beautiful cells, the clear heat shrink, the fantastic heat shrink job, the custom logo on the custom battery management system. This thing's fantastic. I'll leave a link down below for this. But back to the device at hand that I want to show you. This thing here has been a lot of fun to play with. There's a lot of uses for it. And the reason why I want to show this to you right now is because I'm going to mount this on my wall so that I can use it all the time for testing batteries without having to like get it out and put it away, get it out and put it away. It's just going to become a fixture of my battery test station, which is up over there. So after this is done, I'm going to put an inverter up there. I've already got a solar charge controller up there that's hooked up to solar panels on the roof. And then I will have this, because using solar panels to test a fully charged battery doesn't tell you anything. So we need some way to safely just pull power out of a battery and set and see what the solar charge controller is doing. So that's going to level up that game a bit. These wires here, they are doubled up for a reason, and I didn't want to take and go crazy with, you know, cutting up. This was just some scraps wire that I have. This is 12 gauge wire. I put 2 of them up there. This allows me to handle higher levels of current through 12 gauge wires. I wouldn't say that taking 2 of these makes this an 8 gauge wire, but it makes it better than a single 12 gauge wire. I didn't want the wire to be the reason why a battery didn't pass the test. I wanted the wire to be able to handle the current load. And this thing here, I really can't draw more than 10 amps because it can't dissipate enough heat. And that's kind of the magic of how this thing works. You can see this footprint back here. This is a transistor footprint, and what we're doing is we're taking the electricity that we get from the battery pack and we are converting it with this transistor into heat. And then this big cooler here, I wish they put like LED lights on the cooler, but that's just me. This big, and I could probably do that. Anyway, getting sidetracked. This big cooler here is taking the 10 amps per hour that I'm getting out of the battery. We're not going to do 10 amps out of this, don't worry. and converting it into heat and throwing it into the room. So, you know, use this thing in the winter. It actually doesn't put out a tremendous amount of heat, but it does put out a noticeable amount of heat. Then when it's doing that, this little computer device up here is doing all of the measurements to tell me what's coming out. And there are some selectable things. I can show you a different screen layout. This is the backlight. I can turn the backlight on or off. I actually haven't done that. I guess it's a long press. Oh, it's telling me how long it's going to leave the backlight on. So 29 seconds. I actually like having the backlight on. So I'm going to go through all the trouble to get this thing to go around. You have to long press it. Ah, okay. So you can go in both directions. I double tapped it and then long pressed it and it goes up. And then you double tap and long press and it goes down. Cool. Okay, so there is my backlight. This is where the cutoff thresholds are. If it's anything over 300 volts, it'll yell at you. If it's anything less than 0 volts, it won't do anything. 0 volts or less. If it's anything greater than 100 amps, it'll yell at you. I can't imagine trying to discharge 100 amps through this thing. Yeah. Anything over 185 watts of continuous delivery, it will yell at you. And then you can look at the same display in some Asian language that I don't recognize, or you can look at some more information. Voltage, capacity, energy, time, current, and temperature. But I like this display, so I leave it on this display. On the side of it, there is a USB-A port, a micro USB, a mini USB, and a USB-C. So you can actually use this to test out your USB battery packs. And this is actually a pretty cool little battery pack. This is 20,000 milliamp hours, and I've actually used this to power the ICOM 705 for some FT8 work, and it does it. And what you need to do that, I'm actually using it right now. This is a USB-C 12-volt trigger cable. So on one end over there, plugged into my USB-C hub, is power, and over here is a barrel jack, and there's a little trigger cable. I'll just show you. There's a little chip here in the end that converts this into 12 volts, 5 amps worth of delivery to power devices. And I can use this to power things. So I am telling this battery pack to give me 12 volts, 5 amps, which is going through the cable and into the battery tester to power the computer. This is not testing the output of the battery. This is just powering the meter. So I'm going to plug this back into wall power. And we'll see it light up and beep. It says, welcome. How nice. Inside of the package for the battery tester, the reason why I got this out, I want to do a test on this also. You have a USB to alligator clip set up, so I can plug this in if I didn't plug it in directly to one of the USB ports. And it comes with these low gauge wire, maybe 18 gauge wire. Does it even say? Oh, it does say. It says it in really tiny letters too. 18. Ah, look at that. 18 gauge wire. 18 gauge wire, 10 amps, 12 volts. No. That ain't happening, which is why I did that. I did run some tests on this. It will work because these are short jumpers, and there's a word for this, but I don't remember what the word is. But it did work because these are short jumpers, and I'm not pulling too much power out of it. Either way, time to upgrade, and I upgraded. So now let's look at some magic. I'm going to take this and plug it into the red, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it into the black, and we're going to test this USB battery pack right now. So let's get this guy here up in view. Turn these two knobs all the way down, and we will take this and we'll plug this into the QC port because the QC port has higher output. What does it say? USB-B output. I can do 4.5 volts, 5 amps, 5 volts, 4.5 amps, 9 volts, 2 amps, or 12 volts, 1 to 5 amps. So I'll just run this at 1 amp just in case it happens to be 12 volt output when I plug it in. We shall see. I think this is just a dumb cable though, so it's not going to give me any magic there. All right, 5 volts, 0 amps. So if we turn this up, there's a little bit of voltage sag as it gets started, and then it starts to recover a little bit. That's 1.29 amps. So now we're at 0.5, and see, this is that coarse adjustment, so it moves real fast. All right, 0.91. And now I'll do the fine adjustment. All right, we're at 1 amp. 4.95 volts. At 1 amp, so this is actually doing really well, pulling 1 amp out and only having a 0.05 sag. 4.95 watts, and then it's delivered 0.5 watts over time, and that number will keep going up. We've been running for 40 seconds now, so there you go. And if I unplug this, no volts, no amps, and the fan stops because there's no power delivery. So let's do output 1. And because I already had this set to 1 amp, it just jumps right back up. But there you go. This is a good way to test. And if I ran this test 5 volts and it came back with 20 amp hours, on this number right here, I just bumped it, then I would know that this thing is 100% accurate, that it's delivering 20 amps at 5 volts. But I don't know what this 20,000 milliamp hours is reading back. Are they using the 4.5 volts, or are they using 12 volts, or are they using 9 volts? So this is a good way to figure out the truth in batteries. I'm going to turn these knobs all the way down because we're going to switch batteries again. And that's actually a pretty neat way of doing that. I don't recommend this for long-term use, but if you have something that you're not going to bump or isn't going to get bumped, that works just fine. So this is a good little tool to have. All right, now for some real fun. We're going to take the Denko battery. This is a 4S 12 volt 20 amp BMS on top here, and these are 4 cells. And let's look at the ratings here. Charge 14.6, 6 amps max, discharge 18 amps max. So we'll actually be able to run this up to 18 amps. So what I'm going to do is make sure these are turned all the way down again, and then I'm going to plug these things in. And we're reading 13.2 volts out of the battery pack here. So let me turn this thing up. We can get 18 amps max out of this battery. There's 2 amps, 3 amps, 5 amps, 6 amps, 9 amps, 10 amps. We went from 12 volts down to 11.7. 0 complaints. It's a 12 volt rated pack. I'm happy with that. Now how far can we go before we start getting an error? There's 13 amps, 14 amps, 15 amps, 16, and there we go. We've triggered the alert. And if you do some math, 12 volts times 16 amps is probably over that number. And all you need to do is turn it back down, push the button, battery's back up to 12.9 volts, 9.75, and now we can use the fine adjustment to get us right to 10. And I have run this for days on end at 10 amps and not a care in the world. And I'm going to let that fan run until it cools before I pull the power plug out of the back, because having that thing just sit there hot without the fan on it would probably ruin the chip. And the fan is stopped, so now we can unplug this. Another one of the connections here on the side that I didn't show you is that it has this DC barrel jack, and we're not plugged into shore power, so we are providing power out of the battery pack, but there's no way to tell over here. Let me get this thing recabled and repositioned so I can show you that. And this is going to be the panel where I am doing all of the testing right now. I have the solar panels plugged into the Bouge RV charge controller, and I have the Red Audio 140 amp hour Group 31 Bluetooth battery, which is plugged in over there to itself. And over here is where I have moved to show you the MakerHawk with the PD trigger and the VR URC, the VRC battery pack. I don't know how to pronounce VR URC. So we've got that USB trigger cable that I told you about, 12 volts, 5 amps. And that is cabled into that DC barrel jack that I told you. And then we have the shore power plugged into the back here. So let's look at what we've got. The camera to focus better on that screen. There we go. All right, so there's 11.9 volts. So real close to 12, and that's kind of the way that that kind of math works. So there's 1 amp. And then the battery pack itself shut down when I tried to go too fast up. So let's turn that back down. And is it going to let me reset? Yep. Okay, so we've reset 5 volts. So let's unplug the trigger cable and plug it back in, and we're back at 5 volts. We have stress tested that battery. All right, let's plug this thing back in after a complete disconnect and reset, and we've got 11.9 volts. We're back in business. And so that's actually a valuable thing to learn, which is where this MakerHawk tool comes in. Like I said, I've got a video where I have done FT8 on the 705. The 705 doesn't draw more than 3 amps. I think it's 3 amps, 3.5 amps on transmit. And I did some FT8 stuff on it for a while, and it worked just fine, worked like a champ. And I want to say it was 5 hours runtime. And then I ran some Raspberry Pi stuff with some SDRs on it, and that was 15 hours of runtime. I've used this battery pack a lot. What I'm trying to say here is that when I take that coarse adjustment and turn it up, I turned it way past 3.5. Even though the cable says it does 5 amps, the battery pack doesn't do 5 amps. The battery pack went into shutdown mode. I now know something that I didn't know before. Because I'm testing it way outside of its limits, I'm not considering that a failure on the part of the battery pack. It's just knowledge at this point. Same thing with the Denko battery. That battery is rated at 18 amps discharge, and if I tried to pull 30 amps out of it, That'd be my problem, wouldn't it? As always, I gotcha. There are links in the description down below. I hope that didn't come off like I was trying to make excuses for the battery or the trigger cable or anything. I was trying to point out I pushed it beyond its limits, found out what they were, and now I have answers. So everything's good. Speaking of being good, this year I am on a mission to reach 100,000 subscribers, and you can help. Right below this video, there is a subscribe button. Subscribing is free, doesn't cost you anything, but it makes me happy. If y'all could click that if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate it. There's a video right over here I think you'll enjoy next. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you over there.